Hello, this is Roger Michalski. As publisher of Eagle Financial Publications, I've seen virtually every investing method there is, and they all have their merits. But if you want to make the kind of profits that will sustain you and your loved ones for a lifetime, identifying game-changing trends and the companies leading them is the way to do it. My friend and colleague Hillary Kramer agrees. In fact, in a moment, she will introduce you to 12 of the newest billion-dollar trends shaping the economy right now, and show you why they have the potential to make you a fortune several times over. But before I introduce her, let me revisit why trend investing can be such a powerful way to build enormous wealth. For example, had you recognized in the late 1980s that personal computers were not merely some fad as some quote-unquote experts claimed, but actually represented a seismic technological shift that would impact thousands of industries? And had you invested just $1,000 each in early PC stocks like IBM, Apple, Microsoft, Intel, and Hewlett-Packard, you'd likely never have to worry about money again for the rest of your life. Every $1,000 invested in Hewlett-Packard back then grew into $70,897 today, a 70 times return on your money. Every $1,000 invested in Intel grew into $82,831. That's 82 times your money. Every $1,000 invested in Apple grew into $260,019, 260 times your money. And every $1,000 invested in Microsoft grew into an amazing $392,850. That's 392 times your money. Imagine that. Now the quote unquote the one dud was, strangely enough, IBM. That's the one stock that so-called experts and money managers thought would dominate the personal computing industry. Every $1,000 invested in IBM grew into only $5,553. Only 5 times your money, still pretty good. Overall, every $5,000 you invested in 1990 in just these 5 leading PC stocks would be worth $812,149 today. And every 50 grand invested would be worth $8 million today. That's why my friend Hillary Kramer likes to say that investing in game-changer technologies and trends doesn't just make you rich, it makes you very, very, very rich. Here's another example of profiting from a billion-dollar game-changer trend: the wireless internet. In the early 2000s, everyone was trying to hook up their cellular phones to the internet. At first, download speeds were painfully slow. I'm sure you remember that. But things improved rapidly as we went from 2G to 4G. And today, you can watch a full HD movie on your smartphone from virtually anywhere in the world at any time. Had you seen this trend for what it was, a game-changing technology that would alter forever how everyone uses computers and phones, you could be wealthier than you could ever imagine. Back then, just 3 stocks dominated the wireless infrastructure space: Crown Castle, American Tower, and SBA Communications. Between the 3 of them, they built 83,000 cell towers for wireless internet across the United States. Now, let's say back in the early 2000s, you knew that the wireless internet was going to be a big deal, but you weren't too sure which one of these 3 cell tower companies was the best. So you decided to hedge your bets and invest just $5,000 each in all 3 of these stocks. Here's what would have happened. Every $5,000 invested in Crown Castle would have grown into $617,391 today, a gain of 123 times on your money. Every $5,000 invested in American Tower would have grown into $756,667 today, a gain of 151 times your money. And every $5,000 invested in SBA Communications would have grown into $948,819. That's a gain of 189 times your money. Overall, an investment of just $15,000 would have grown into $2.3 million. Had you invested $45,000, that's $15,000 in each one, you would now have $6.9 million sitting in your brokerage account. Here's Hillary's point. Knowing which stocks to invest in is important, but what is more important is knowing that the game-changing technologies and trends from which you select the stocks. And that brings me to the very purpose of the important video today. Money Show stock picking phenomenon and trading expert Hillary Kramer has just released her brand new blockbuster book talking about the next game-changing technologies, trends, and companies that will drive the stock market forward in 2020 and beyond. The title of Hillary's book is Game Changer Investing: How to Profit from Tomorrow's Billion-Dollar Trends. And during this presentation, I'm going to tell you how you can get a copy of Game Changer Investing absolutely free. It's only a slight exaggeration to say this book is like having a time machine that can look into the future and will give you the kind of unbeatable edge in investing that you've always longed to have. Game Changer Investing reveals the key demographic shift that will forever change the way we work, shop, and relax. The agricultural revolution that will feed the additional 2 to 3 billion people being born over the next 30 years, and how you can cash in early. World-changing health products, including medicine and artificial limbs and organs, that are already making early bird investors huge profits. Why digital money is the wave of the future, and 3 ways you can invest right now to earn PayPal-like mega profits. The 4 ways you can profit from pet apps, eco-friendly pet wares, high-end pet food, and digital vet care. How to cash in on the post-Amazon retail boom, and a lot more. All of these incredible revelations is why some of the biggest names in investing have endorsed this exciting new investing blueprint. Steve Forbes, chairman and editor-in-chief of Forbes Media, says that Hillary's new book provides a timely guide to fathoming future trends. Susie Garib, anchor and senior special correspondent at Fortune, says that Game Changer Investing is full of advice for everyone from the novice investor to the market pro. And John Crudell, syndicated columnist and business journalist at the New York Post, says Kramer's book is a must-read because she reveals not just where science, technology, and industry are heading, but how the everyday investor can use this knowledge to create wealth. But now I'd like to introduce you to Hillary herself. The Financial Times has described Hillary as, I quote, a one-woman financial investment powerhouse. And The Economist calls her, and I quote, one of the best-known investors in America. For many years, Hillary was an analyst and investment banker at Morgan Stanley and Lehman Brothers. She received her MBA from the prestigious Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, widely considered the best business school in America, and her BA with honors from Wesley College. After her studies, Hillary founded and ran what's called a long-short hedge fund. That's a fund that seeks to take advantage of the mega trends in the markets to make huge profits. And now, since 2010, Hillary has been a popular investment advisor through her many newsletters and publications. In addition to her current blockbuster Game Changer Investing book, Hillary is also the author of many previous books, including Ahead of the Curve and The Little Book of Big Profits from Small Stocks. Plus, she's a frequent TV and radio commentator on CNBC, CBS, Fox News, PBS, Reuters, and Bloomberg, just to name a few, and has her own nationally syndicated, very popular radio show, The Millionaire Maker. Hillary has made time in her busy schedule to visit us here in our studio in Washington, D.C. So without further ado, allow me to introduce you to the woman herself, best-selling author and well-known financial advisor, Hillary Kramer. Hillary, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Roger. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Well, I have to say, I don't think I've ever seen such a big collection of testimonials about a book before. I only read out loud a couple of them, but you seem to have literally dozens more, from people like the actor Joe Piscopo to Stephen Moore, advisor to President Trump.
Everyone has been so complimentary, really excited, and it's just wonderful.
So it appears this book is something of a publishing event. You definitely have broken out of the investing niche, and this seems to have enormously broad appeal. You've gathered together in one place the very latest information about the mega trends and technological breakthroughs transforming the world right now in 2020. Plus, you reveal how ordinary people can become incredibly wealthy by investing in these trends.
That's right, Roger. It's all about getting everyone to be a multimillionaire by seeing the future. In fact, my goal with this book is to give people, everyday people, a vision of what the near future will look like. It's like a window into the future. That would be the best way to explain it. So everyone can profit from these 12 mega trends and become financially independent as a result.
Well, we have a lot to cover, so here's what I'd like to propose doing with this interview. Let's take an in-depth look at just 4 of those 12 mega trends, and then ask you some specific investing questions that I know our readers would like to have. How does that sound?
That's great. That's a great idea.
Okay, let's get started. The first billion-dollar game-changer trend I'd like to discuss with you has to do with so-called autonomous cars and the technologies that go into that. I have to say right off the bat, I'm a little skeptical on this one. There's just no way I want to share the freeway with a robot-driven car, even though we're already sharing with a lot of idiot drivers. But with these automated cars, I don't care how many promises Elon Musk makes, I'm still a little scared.
Well, we don't have to worry about that for a while, Roger, because autonomous cars, well, it's going to arrive in many stages. For example, let me explain how it's working. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has defined 5 levels of vehicle automation, from zero control to full control. And the truth is, when autonomous cars finally do make it on the scene, they will be far safer than any car you have ever been in before. They will be like stepping into one of those self-driving trams that ferry people from terminal to terminal at the airport. What's more, if you invest in this technology early on, you'll likely end up so wealthy, you could skip cars altogether and fly around in your own autonomous helicopter. But all kidding aside, autonomous cars, it's really not science fiction. It's absolutely real, very real, and they are arriving on the scene now. More than 1,400 self-driving cars are already being tested by 80 different companies in 36 states across America. In the near future, many people will simply not bother owning cars anymore. They just won't have to. Self-driving taxis will arrive on your doorstep with the click of a button, and they'll take you wherever you want to go. The current estimate is that self-driving taxis, vans, and other autonomous short-distance services will be commonplace in urban areas starting in the 2020s and 2030s. That's only a decade from now. A study commissioned by Intel in 2017 and prepared by Strategy Analytics describes this passenger economy of the future as a mosaic of ride-hailing, like it is now, and other mobility-as-a-service solutions powered by autonomous vehicle technology. So, Roger, demand for these services are going to reach a staggering $7 trillion. It's going to be a $7 trillion business in the year 2050.
Wow, that's amazing. But why should investors care about these cars now? Isn't that still way too far out in the future?
Well, the time to invest in game-changer technology is before everyone you know is using them. Let's look at Apple. Great example. Apple announced it was releasing the first iPhone in January 2007. At that time, Apple shares were selling for around $13.50 a share. It would take a couple of years before the iPhone would become as omnipresent as it is now, meaning everywhere. But the time to buy Apple was back then, before everyone you knew had an iPhone. You know, everyone was using Blackberries and flip phones. Yep. Today, those same shares, they sell at $280 a share and going higher. If you had invested $25,000 in Apple back when everyone could see the iPhone as a game-changing technology, you would have an extra $518,000 in your account right now.
Point taken. But do we see that same kind of hyper-growth potential with self-driving car technologies?
Absolutely. It's already happening. Look at NVIDIA, NVDA. It is a manufacturer, very important, one of the key components in self-driving cars. They are an AI, artificial intelligence, specialized processing unit that helps the vehicle see. I'm not recommending NVIDIA right now, right here at such a lofty price, but it's been a huge winner for so many people. Just 10 years ago, NVIDIA was a $10 a share stock. The last time I checked, well, it had hit about close to $220 a share, hovering right there. That means every $25,000 you invested in NVIDIA a decade ago would be worth $540,000 today, Roger. Again, this is how you build real, lasting wealth that can support you and those you love for the rest of your lives. Now, again, I'm not recommending anyone go buy NVIDIA right now, The key is there are much better stocks to take advantage of for this game-changing billion-dollar trend of the future.
Fair enough, Hillary. I can understand why you don't want to just give away all your best proprietary research. That's why we want to give everyone watching this interview a free copy of your just published bestseller, Game Changer Investing: How to Profit from Tomorrow's Billion-Dollar Trends. Plus, if you reserve your copy today, we'll include our brand new bonus chapter. It's called Beyond the Banks: How Money Flows in a Post-Cash Future. This is critical information that simply arrived too late for publication, but we thought it was so vital that we put it together in a special free chapter for you today. You won't find it in the hardcover edition, not at newsstands and not on online stores like Amazon.com, only here. But before I tell you how you can get your free copy of the book and free bonus chapter, let me ask Hillary about another game-changing technology that she discussed in her book, artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is another one of those terms we all hear about, but maybe we actually don't have any clue what it actually involves. So what exactly is AI really, and how does it impact investors?
That's a great question. Everyone hears AI, but what is it? The fact is, artificial intelligence, well, it's already here all the time. It's just that you don't see it. Today, AI is already filtering your email for spam, recommending the next product you should buy online, and dutifully answering when you ask your phone for directions to the nearest sushi restaurant. That's all AI driven. In its most basic form, artificial intelligence refers to what experts call machine learning. The central idea behind machine learning is that rather than trying to solve a problem from first principles, you build a flexible piece of software that knows how to, well, they say guess at a solution, but a very intelligent guess. The software doesn't need to hit the target right at the first time. It simply needs to make an approximation, evaluate its accuracy, and then it tries again.
And given the processing speeds of today's computers and the vast amounts of data these computers can now access, I suppose this means the machines arrive at the right answers pretty quickly, right?
Yes, that's exactly the idea. A few years ago, machine learning algorithms were handcrafted by code artisans with a distinct love for advanced mathematics. But the basic tools of AI are now becoming ever more available to a wider range of developers. A neural network, a kind of machine learning tool based on the way the human brain works, can be put together by anyone in less than an hour. What has happened is that there are now these open source code libraries, such as Google's TensorFlow, which offers these tools for free. Amazon Web Services, NVIDIA, and others offer AI as a service in the cloud. And now that the tools are widely available, we can expect the endless application everywhere of machine learning. There's facial recognition, and it's going to even span to predictive analytics, robotics, and it's going to grow so rapidly.
Okay, but outside of computer programming, what sort of real-world applications are we really talking about?
Okay.
I mean, is this an actual industry?
Yes, it is. And well, Roger, you're right in the sense that this is a ground floor, brand new industry, but it's spreading like wildfire. The Global Machine Learning Market Report, their estimate is that the market was about $2.5 billion in 2017, but that it's going to grow at a rate of 22% a year going forward, hitting about $12.5 billion in 6 years. The overall artificial intelligence industry, of which machine learning is only a part, is growing even faster at a rate of around 55% annually. It's expected to reach $169 billion in sales in just 5 years. But Roger, I think it's going to be a much larger number than even what many of these analytical companies are putting out in their reports.
Yeah, well, I must say 55% a year or more annual growth is something that I think investors would like to take a really close look at.
That's right. And what's really exciting about artificial intelligence for investors is that just a handful of companies are dominating right now, and they're making early bird investors, well, they're making them lots of money already.
Can you give us a few examples, Hillary?
Of course I can. Well, I mentioned NVIDIA before. It's an AI stock that has done amazingly well, a little volatile, but incredible for investors. Obviously, stocks like Alphabet, GOOG, formerly Google, Apple, AAPL, and Facebook, FB, are heavily invested in AI and machine learning. Back in 2014, Alphabet, Google, bought DeepMind, a London startup that has already developed a way to aggregate key medical information like blood test results and notify physicians if any patient's condition takes a turn for the worse. Silicon Valley household names are well and good, but and they're great, but investors hoping for higher impact opportunities, well, we are looking down the AI food chain to smaller companies working on very specific applications. A great example is Twilio, the integrated communications platform that actually runs Facebook and Uber messaging apps. What very few people realize is that the system also gives enterprising customers a way to build and manage cutting-edge chat bots to automate the majority of their customer service needs, effectively taking the humans right out of the communications loop. One you may not have heard of is Inphi Corp, IPHI, a semiconductor stock that is dominating the AI sector. This stock shot up from $8 a share in 2013 to $75 today. Now that's a gain of 837%. I am not sitting here recommending you go out and buy Inphi or Twilio today, right now. There are better AI plays. For example, in the field of robots, where AI now plays a huge role. Robots in factories and warehouses can already see the objects they're manipulating by means of the same kinds of onboard cameras that alert taxi drivers to potential obstacles in their collision zones. When they see what they need, the robots reach for it. And when they see a problem, they compensate right away without waiting for the quality control team to come around and notice that, maybe hours or days worth of work needs to be redone or thrown out. For investors, you can see why this is a big deal. With stocks like Brooks Automation, BRKS, that's up 345% since 2016. Rockwell Automation, a really old company, ROK, it's up 312% since 2010. And then, of course, Intuitive Surgical, ISRG, many people have heard of that one, up 287% since 2015. And then there's Teradyne, TER, also an older company that's been around for years, up 305% since 2015, and so on. Landing AI is another startup to watch, not least because of the pedigree of its founder, Andrew Ng, but former chief scientist at the Chinese company Baidu. He was also at Google Brain, an online learning platform, Coursera, from the very beginning. Andrew is probably the most influential scholar of machine learning in the entire world. His own Coursera course on the topic remains the go-to for those wanting to learn about AI algorithms and neural networks. Landing AI provides consulting for manufacturing organizations in particular. That's probably where the money will go between now and 2050. This is just an industry that is growing by leaps and bounds, and why I spend so much of my time on it in my book, Game Changer Investing.
Well, speaking of leaps and bounds, that brings me to another one of your billion-dollar game changer trends, space, the final frontier. Now, I enjoy science fiction as much as the next guy, but it's my job to ask you the tough questions, Hillary. A lot of people have talked about mining the moon and so on, but come on, realistically, how in the world are companies, not to mention individual investors, going to make any money off space exploration?
Gee, Roger, you like to throw me the softball questions? You don't have to sugarcoat anything. The fact is, space exploration is already making billions of dollars. You just don't hear about it, not yet. Right now, the fastest growing segment in space exploration involves these private businesses. It's not government-funded ventures such as the recently announced U.S. Space Force, which unto itself is very exciting and will make a lot of money for a lot of companies that we are figuring out right now. Private businesses, they are going into space exploration big time, and they are doing so because they believe they will make tens of billions of dollars in the process. A prime example is Amazon, AMZN. We all know Amazon. Many investors don't know this, but Jeff Bezos has already poured a small fortune into his space exploration company, Blue Origin. The company is engineering reusable launch vehicles with the goal of landing commercial operations on the moon within 4 to 6 years. This is not just a pipe dream. It might seem like it today, but it's not. Blue Origin has successfully launched and re-landed many vehicles since 2015. Of course, another example is Elon Musk's other company, besides Tesla, SpaceX. It has a $20 billion valuation and arguably even deeper pockets. SpaceX may never go public, but as its rocket platform gets more robust, it takes a lot of pressure off satellite operators like Iridium Communications. Again, the motive is money. NASA has already greenlit a mission to investigate just one space asteroid that appears to be made of, this is important, this is the key to it all, enough precious metal to run the global economy for 130,000 years. Hey, talk about a girl's best friend. That's $10 quintillion in platinum, gold, and everything else that glitters. And that's just one space rock out of millions. We're talking about mountains of gold, endless clean water, oceans of what amounts to natural gas, rare earth minerals for the taking. People invested in technologies thought to be years away from practical use, but then we see them appear in our own living room. Think of the success of venture capitalists who invested in a little company originally called Macintosh, now called Apple. It's very similar. Now space travel is the hot commodity, and for very good reason. You are theoretically doubling humanity's aggregate mineral and chemical wealth. That's what's driving Sir Richard Branson, the billionaire genius behind Virgin Airlines. He has invested in Planetary Resources, a company that focuses on extraterrestrial mineral extractions, and that includes asteroids, in order to make Mars and the moon not only reachable, but habitable. That means people can live there. Although he has yet to launch commercial passengers into space, 600 people have already invested millions into this venture. Branson loves an IPO, so there's a good chance we will get to play it. Bezos and Musk may also open up to outside capital when it becomes clear that they need more cash to achieve their goals.
Okay, Hillary, I admit this is really interesting, but forgive the obvious pun, isn't it still a bit, pie in the sky? No offense.
Very good question, Roger. I understand. But real world profits are here and now. They really are, not just like in the future. The bottom line is that aerospace and defense companies have been money machines for generations. And these are the same companies that have paved the way for space exploration in the past, and they're going to continue to do that in the future. Just look at the defense giants Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. They were all way up in 2019. Raytheon, RTN, was up 43% in 2019, and Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin, the aerospace giants, are now working on NASA's return to the moon. Both were up more than 50%. For example, Lockheed Martin soared from $261 a share on January 1st, 2019 to $393 a share by the end of the year, and I, Hillary Kramer, was the biggest proponent. I was the contrarian who loved that sector and got everyone into it, especially in these last 2 years. And those are just the big companies with market caps of between $50 billion and $100 billion. In fact, Raytheon is even going to get bigger. They merged with United Technologies last year. There are the smaller companies that are also getting into this space exploration, and many of them are doing even better. Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic Holdings, SPCE, has started taking off, gaining 57% in just the past month alone. Or look at a company like Aerojet Rocketdyne Holdings. It's up a whopping 204% over the past 3 years, from $14 to $45 a share. HEICO Corp, it's another one. It's another aerospace company that's seen enormous growth in recent years. This stock jumped from $26 a share in 2016 to $115 today. That's a gain of 342%.
Well, I must say, just from the point of view from the stock returns, That's really impressive.
It sure is, and that's my point. This may sound like pie in the sky, as you put it, but it's really money in the bank. As we shift our sights from Earth to outer space, the future is at our doorstep. Those with the dreams and the means are in the process, thanks to the billionaire space race, of making commercial space travel for consumers and goods not only possible, but actually probable. It's the ultimate niche technology play, and we are going to be in it all the way.
Well, Hillary, you make a very convincing case. What you just said now, and especially in your book, Game Changer Investing, How to Profit from Tomorrow's Billion-Dollar Trends. That's why we here at Eagle Financial Publications are so willing to buy thousands of copies to give them away to our viewers, absolutely free. But before I tell our viewers how they can get their free copy, I have to ask you about one more of the most intriguing of your $12 billion trends. That's one dealing with extending the human lifespan. Hillary, we've all heard about anti-aging medicine for years, but what really intrigued me is that what you describe simply doesn't involve giving people decades more life, but actually turning back the clock on the aging process itself, keeping people younger much, much longer. How is such thing even possible? And how close are we to the commercialization of these anti-aging technologies?
That's a great question, Roger, and it sounds unbelievable, but it's true. We're very close. See, the trend involves not just life extension, but youth extension as well. That's what we call it. Longevity is steadily increasing without dramatic technological innovations in many countries in the world. In fact, any baby born today has a 50% chance or more of living past 112 years old. Finland has hundreds of centenarians and tens of thousands of citizens over 90 years old today. Life expectancy is rising for men and women, a trend echoed in Japan and Norway, China, Brazil, countries all over the world. And in the next few decades, we are likely to live longer and do more with those extra years. In fact, the World Economic Forum's Global Agenda Council on Aging sees a fourth industrial revolution taking shape, and that should fundamentally enhance the health of older adults.
But what does that mean in dollars and cents?
Glad you asked, Roger. What it comes down to is the global geriatric medicine market was estimated at $540 billion in 2015. But industry estimates suggest that it could reach $1.1 trillion by 2026. The U.S. market alone is likely to be around $350 billion by 2024. That's why we call it another industrial revolution. The care services market is even larger. Industry estimates valued it at $842 billion in 2017, and it's expected to grow to $1.49 trillion in 2024. That's only 4 years from now, Roger.
Yeah, but this isn't where the big money is for investors right now, right?
That's right. The big money will be in the new gene therapies and what's called personalized medicine that will help everyone live healthier lives well into their 90s and beyond. As we live longer, we need to replace the parts that wear out first. That means artificial hips, artificial hearts, artificial teeth. Almost every organ in the human body can now be substituted. For instance, the Galveston National Laboratory at the University of Texas recently developed rejection-free, completely safe, and working lungs built specifically for the recipient.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting, I must admit.
It really is. And then there's genetic engineering. Gene therapy theoretically opens up some of the most transformative benefits of biotech medicine by repairing or replacing errors in the genetic code itself. These errors can include mutations that trigger cancer and other fatal diseases. Fixing the errant gene eliminates the problem at its very fundamental source.
And where should investors be looking to profit from these developments? That's the key.
Okay, that's absolutely right. Well, these are highly speculative plays, but I look for smaller opportunities where a little good news can transform a whole balance sheet. My favorites are the ones that focus on cures for significant medical problems rather than spending their resources making healthy people healthier. Their management teams pick their targets carefully and lay out a careful, strategic plan to get their therapies passed the FDA.
For example,
Okay, well, look at one of my favorite companies, and I've made a lot of people very wealthy on this stock, GW Pharmaceuticals, GWPH. The company's flagship product is Epidiolex, which got a green light from the FDA in 2018 and is now ramping up sales while follow-up trials move toward pinning down the drug's ability to fight rare tumors and other conditions. The company isn't profitable yet, but its revenues soared, are you ready? Literally 3,659% in the last quarter once the drug was approved. The stock has been volatile, of course, but it's increased in value from $38 a share in early 2016 to hovering around $100 today. That's a gain of 165%. Again, these are the sorts of game changer investments that not only change lives, but also can make you very wealthy and relatively, very, very quickly.
I couldn't agree with you more, Hillary. I know we've just scratched the surface in this interview. These are all very complex topics that need more time than we have today to truly go through. And that's what Hillary does in her book, Game Changer Investing: How to Profit from Tomorrow's Billion-Dollar Trends. She not only discusses the trends we touched on in this interview, but 8 more, including the Internet of Things, the coming food revolution, how investors will make billions off of the coming demographic shifts, digital money, the new sharing economy, and a lot more. The way I see it, Hillary, you're giving our viewers an incredible opportunity to build real, lasting wealth that will sustain them and all they care for. And your message that the time to act is right now is very clear. I can see why you've received so many positive endorsements from financial experts and celebrities alike. And the reviews from the press and other prominent figures have been just as positive. I'd like to show a few on the screen right now. Jerry Willis, an anchor and personal finance reporter at Fox News Channel, says, "Hillary Kramer is a market geek, and I mean that in a good way. Since I've known her, she's been on top of the trends and fresh ideas investors need to know." Christine Kernan, a senior producer at Thomson Reuters Television, says, "I'd highly recommend Game Changer Investing to anyone seeking out worthwhile investment opportunities or simply looking to gain a better understanding about the significant transformations taking place in today's world." Hillary shows readers how to spot opportunities beyond the well-recognized companies and personalities making up today's news. Game Changer Investing is accessible and easy to read, jam-packed with information and engaging stories. And Joe Piscopo, the actor, comedian, and radio talk show host, says that Hillary has, and I quote, "packed this book with cutting-edge game changers that will turbocharge your own portfolio. If you haven't heard of digital bullion, eco moms, cold chain logistics, aquatic superfoods, mind wars, you will." Kramer's talent is making these opportunities understandable and actionable for the everyday investor in a way that gives you the same long-term advantages as the professionals. This book is right on the money, and it's going to be big like Sinatra in Vegas, big baby. Stephen Moore, a senior economic advisor to Donald Trump and former Wall Street Journal editorial board member, he says, "Read Hillary Kramer's blockbuster, Game Changer Investing. There is no more reliable and trusted voice for financial common sense in America than Hillary. And this book lays out the formula in simple, plain English." And Scott Norville, former international bureau chief and vice president at Fox News Channel, adds, "We all need a plan, and with Game Changer Investing, Hillary Kramer charts about as clear a course as one can find these days." Hillary Kramer, with her legendary, well-earned reputation as a futurist and visionary investor, tells the reader how to cash in on the billions coming down the pike from all this global change. I could just keep going, but that should give our viewers some idea of the overwhelming praise that is being heaped upon this book. Obviously, Game Changer Investing is being viewed by many as one of the most important publishing events for investors over the past decade.
Well, Roger, that's why we created Game Changer Investing, so people who aren't familiar with this type of investing would be able to benefit and could begin taking advantage of these enormous opportunities right away. Game Changer Investing is perfectly suited for everybody because along with all these great investing tips about the trends and technologies that are shaping our world right now, but we also offer practical advice for how people can cash in on these trends and build real, lasting wealth.
Yes, we here at Eagle Financial Publications believe so much in this book that we're giving away thousands of copies for free. Now, this came at a great cost to the company, but we believe Hillary's message needs to be heard. It's a remarkable vision of hope for the future, both collectively, but also for individual investors. So Eagle Financial Publications took this unprecedented step. We're going to give out a free copy of Hillary's brand new book, Game Changer Investing, to everybody watching this broadcast right now. And right now, Game Changer Investing is selling for $28.99 on Amazon and in bookstores and newsstands across the United States, Canada, and in Europe. But that's not the only way this special offer differs from the book that's in the stores, right?
Yes, Roger, that's right. Because things are changing so quickly, this is how it differs. We went and we wrote a bonus chapter that's not even included in the hardback edition of the book. It is called Beyond the Banks, How Money Flows in a Post-Cash Future. This is critical information that simply arrived too late for publication, but we thought it was so vital that we put together all of this into a free bonus chapter for you today.
Well, given your track record, Eagle Financial Publications definitely wants as many people as possible to read this unpublished bonus chapter. So every viewer will receive it when they accept their free copy of the new hardback edition of Game Changer Investing. In this valuable hardback edition, Hillary shares everything she knows about these game changer trends and technologies, as well as how investors capitalize on them to seriously grow their wealth.
That's correct. That's exactly right. I don't hold anything back. Plus, I lay out the specific investment strategies that I believe investors should use to take maximum advantage of these game changer trends. Game Changer Investing, my book, is a comprehensive window into the future at the enormous opportunities that investors have before them right now. All of these opportunities, space travel, in medicine.
Well, Eagle Financial Publications wants to do its part to help ensure that you have the guidance you need to get these strategies in place. So, in addition to sending you a free copy of the new hardback edition of Game Changer Investing, as well as the bonus chapter that can't be found in bookstores or online retailers like Amazon, you can only find it here, Eagle Financial Publications is also going to send you a free copy of the Critical Briefing, Hillary Kramer's Game Changer Portfolio for 2020. This special report reveals Hillary's recommended portfolio for capitalizing on today's game changer trends, her top investment for each of her 12 game-changing trends. I guarantee you haven't heard of most of these companies. These aren't the tired-old Apple, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft names that have carried the market for decades. You won't even find today's sizzle stocks like Beyond Meat and Tesla here either. And forget about Uber. We're talking about the stocks of tomorrow. Among them, you'll discover 3 ways to cash in on the next wave of disruptive technologies in AI, the Internet of Things, and the digital defense. 3 plays to make money on 2020's top game-changing retail trends, both brick and mortar, which is not dead, and online. 2 booming businesses created to satisfy the specific needs of 2 exploding demographic groups, millennials and boomers. Plus, 4 more specific stock plays to cash in on today's top game-changing trends. Based on recent performance, Hillary Kramer's Game Changer Portfolio for 2020 has a value of $1,200, but you don't have to pay anything close to that. In fact, it's yours free. And that's just the beginning. To help all our viewers of this broadcast implement Hillary's suggestions for taking advantage of these game changer investing breakthroughs, we've arranged for everyone to also receive 3 months of detailed updates to the trends Hillary describes in her book. We do this by means of a 90-day subscription to her popular investing newsletter, Game Changers. Again, absolutely free. Hillary's flagship newsletter, Game Changers, identifies breakthrough mega trend stocks ahead of the Wall Street herd. The goal is to help regular investors get in on the ground floor of Wall Street's most profitable opportunities and grab at least 1 double-digit gain every single month. And you get this valuable resource for a full 90 days without having to pay a single penny beyond the $4.95 shipping fee for the book. So, allow me to summarize what we're offering. By taking action right now, you get a free copy of Hillary's brand new hardback book, Game Changer Investing, which sells in stores for $28.99. A free bonus chapter of Game Changer Investing called Beyond the Banks, How Money Flows in a Post-Cash Future, revealing where to look for money makers in tomorrow's financial arena. A copy of Hillary Kramer's Game Changer Portfolio for 2020, revealing 12 specific investments for today's game-changing trends, and that's valued at $1,200. And, most amazing of all, ongoing weekly and monthly updates to the Game Changer Investing book with a free subscription to Hillary's popular Game Changers newsletter for 90 days. You know how fast these tech trends move, and knowing where to look, which you find out in the book, is just the first step. You also need to track these trends, get updates, keep up with the pace of change, and now you can do so for free for 90 days. And make no mistake, this amazing offer will not last long. Yet, for the next few days, you can get all of this for only $4.95 to cover the shipping and handling fee. So to get started, just click the big button below this message right now. Hillary Kramer, thank you for sitting down to talk with us today.
It is such a pleasure to be here. This is so exciting. All these future trends and the millions of dollars that everyone can make from cashing in on them.
You gave our viewers a great deal of guidance and insight. And Hillary is going to give you a great deal more when you claim a free copy of her new hardback book, Game Changer Investing, including the free bonus chapter she just wrote, Beyond the Banks, How Money Flows in a Post-Cash Future, in her new special report, Game Changer Portfolio for 2020, and 3 full months of detailed updates with your Game Changers newsletter. You can claim your free copy of Game Changer Investing and your other bonus gifts simply by clicking the button below the screen right now. I'm Roger Michalski, and thank you again for tuning in.